And then when I was traded to Baltimore, I didn't even know I was coming to Baltimore. I had a holdout situation that was
Mhm.
going in Tampa, a real terrible contract issue there, and I was traded to the Baltimore Ravens for like a fourth round pick.
Gotcha.
And I tell you, man, when I first got there, I had never seen Afro American people this big.
Yeah.
I mean, the offensive line that we had, Priest, that's not humanly possible. That's not normal what we had. That's a great question, Priest. The difference between the running backs being a great runner and being a great running back. Don't confuse a guy. Now we look at a guy that rushes for, almost 2,000 yards. But yes, he's a great runner, but I don't know how much of a great running back he is.
Yeah, give me the keys to the kingdom. Cause I came, I saw, I conquered it all. Conquer.
All right, time for another episode of the Home Stretch. He's Priest Holmes. My name is Mark, and we're excited to be here yet again because it's the countdown to the big game, Priest.
Yes,
We're
indeed.
almost there. We're almost there. But this is that sort of like purgatory week, where it's like, what's going on, man? We got to wait 2 weeks for this thing. And you as a player, as someone who's been to the Super Bowl, what's this time period like for a player when, you don't have a normal off week? You got to wait 2 weeks. So what are the differences? What are the goods? What are the bads?
Yeah, it's the time where you have that you got to get your life right. This is the week you got to get your life
Okay.
right. That's why I say
Okay.
that. It's you got to get in front of your family members. You got to let them know ahead of time. Hey, here's the schedule. Whoever's gonna get these tickets, let me know now. There's not gonna be no last minute changes. Who's gonna be coming? Who's coming to the Super Bowl? Who's not?
Yeah.
Like we're getting that all done during this off week so that there are no distractions, once practice starts. And so the guys definitely have to make sure their families know exactly what's to be expected so that these guys can focus in. And like a player like myself, the same thing. There's going to be so much you could just tell like everybody's going to be like on their toes about everything, and every little
Mhm.
thing, for guys that like if you're coming to the meeting, and you were only 1 minute early to the meeting, even that will
Mhm.
be flagged, because they're going to want you locked in. You're not missing any meetings, you're not missing any workouts, you're making sure you're getting all your rehab, so you're doing everything possible to hit every box, to get every checklist done, so you can be prepared and focused for the game.
All right, Priest, you told a funny story in a previous episode where there's a certain expectation when you're a player and you have family, friends, maybe people you haven't talked to in a long time, and maybe you're playing a game out of town or maybe it's a home game and you go out to dinner afterwards and I'll never forget this quote. You said, "Man, not everyone should be getting the rack of lamb," and which I thought was hilarious. Now, this is obviously times a million when it's Super Bowl time.
Yeah.
So what's the cutoff? What's the who qualifies? Like how many tickets are you allocated and how early do you have to get that request in to your team and stuff in the NFL?
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have pretty much the entire week to decide and make that decision, but it's something that you just want to make sure that you get those tickets allocated early because
Uh-huh.
there's always going to be an uncle, there might be an aunt, there might
Yeah.
be a cousin that's going to come out the woodworks and tell you how important this game is and how much they've supported you over your entire career, you know.
Sure.
So you just definitely have to make sure your parents are taken care of, right? Family, your immediate family is taken care of. And then, of course, you just got to be able to juggle the dice with everybody else. You could have some people saying, "Hey, I'll make sure you get there," but when the game comes on, you're gonna have to find a lounge or a restaurant to watch it in because these tickets are like $4,000, right? So
Here's a list. Yeah, here's a list of the closest bars in perimeter 1. Here's the list of bars in perimeter 2. That's hilarious. I can see it right now, like a random email from Uncle Sean, who sends you a picture of him wearing like a Priest Holmes number 32 jersey, and you're like, yeah, that's not even my number, dude. Nice try, Sean. Nice try, Sean. Well, it is an interesting time. There's a lot that goes into this preparation. Obviously, all the media coverage. The media from our side of the coin, we dig into every nook and cranny, trying to find different storylines,
yeah,
different hiccups, different questions to ask that you want to have answered, like stuff that no one cared about the entire year. But all of a sudden, you as a player, you're coming out of practice and you're like, What do you mean snap number 15 in game 3 on a rainy day and I slipped? Like, why are we talking about
Yeah.
this?
Well, the thing is that you're going to definitely have, when you talk about media, well, there's obviously Radio Row and several of the
Right.
players that are going to be, deemed the guys that are going to be speaking on behalf of the team. So obviously your quarterback is going to be one that's going to be on Radio Row in front of the
Mhm.
media. Your defensive captain, leader, leading tackler, that MVP guy, or for us that was Ray Lewis, obviously would be in front of the mic. And so we had Shannon Sharp, and of course Shannon Sharp's a talker, man. He can talk and talk and talk. So any
Sure.
subject you can throw at Shannon, yeah, he's got something to say about it. So, yeah, Shannon Sharp definitely was another one that we had in front of the camera and just representing our team as a whole. And of course, for us, we were all talking the same language, and that was winning the Super Bowl. We had been talking about that since the preseason and training camp. So it's one
Mhm.
of those things that kind of led up. And the same thing that is true with these two teams. I'm sure when you go back to ask them what were some of the sound bites that were spoken in the locker room early on before the season started, this is what they were talking about finishing strong and being obviously a contender in the Super Bowl.
Well, speaking of sound bites early on, before the Super Bowl starts, was there anybody in your locker room when you were playing with the Ravens that almost let the cat out of the bag and tried to do the guarantee or the, we got this, no problem? And you're like, yo, tape him up, tape him up. We don't want that getting out. Because obviously it's your goal, but that stays in the locker room as a team. But, when you got guys getting a little cocky and being like, yeah, we got this guaranteed. There's always one guy.
Yeah, we had a pretty strong team, but for us, for the most part, there was so much off the field antics that had happened, going into that season, and so the case around Ray Lewis as well.
Mhm.
So it was very, we had to be very careful of the things that we were saying in front of the media. But as a team, we were very confident. We knew we would be prepared, and so the one thing that they knew, they were going to get hit by by the number one defense. You know what I mean? So that was one thing
Sure,
we
facts.
were talking about, and the things that the guys were talking about is how hard the guys were going to come into that game and play and expect to get hit. That was one thing that we led with.
Real quick, were there any perks, anything that you didn't normally get throughout the season that sort of was offered up, before the big game, whether it was from the league or just from people that were fans, or like, were there things coming out of the woodwork of like, yeah, come eat at my restaurant, hang out, or what was going on from a non-normal perspective?
Well, the thing is just leading up to the Super Bowl, man, that's when you get to cash in. You get to cash in on your likeness and image, you know what I mean? So, restaurants definitely will open up the doors. You'd have all
Yeah.
these great wine bottles come show up at the table. Uh, it was one of those things where, the invitation to come in and have a great time at restaurants was always great.
Yeah. So, and if you're going car shopping, that's when you ask for the discount, right? That's when you're like, come on, we can get to a better price. Come on, we can do that. Nice. So negotiations are definitely strong. Very cool. Well, we're heading that direction, but this is that sort of purgatory week before we get into the real thick of it. So I thought we'd have a little fun today. With our Bet365 segment, and we'll get there in just a minute. But we've got to talk about what happened in the conference championship games, both AFC and NFC. But Priest, I'm going to sidebar for a quick second here, because I've never asked you this question in all the episodes we've done so far. Over this weekend, we had a big snowstorm here where I'm at in New York City, and people were just kind of locked in. We all hung out, just watched movies all day. And one day while I was cleaning, I just threw something on the TV in the background, and I was flipping through the channels, and Draft Day came on, and I'm like, Draft Day? This is we're deep in the playoffs here. What are we doing? This is like, this is a preseason movie. But it was on for whatever reason. I obviously instantly get hooked because it takes place within the confines of the Cleveland Browns. Kevin Costner, one of our guests, Orlando Brown Jr.'s favorite, Jennifer Garner, stars in the movie. But I started watching it, and I realized that over time, like, man, I really love that movie. I've never asked Priest what his favorite football movie is, because you're on the other side of the coin. You're an actual professional. Me as a fan, I get to live the fantasy of all these football movies, and like if they're true or not, and in the context that surrounds it, and most of the stories are made up. But what are like maybe your top 3 football movies all time? Like, do you have some? Are there go-tos? Or the ones that are always on, you never turn off?
Well, yeah, well, before I get to my top 3, I can relate when
Okay.
you talk about the Wildcats. You also got, like, Draft Day. Those were pretty
Hmm.
exciting shows as well. But for me, there is definitely the ones that would hit at the very top of my list.
Okay.
And so those 3 would be Remember the Titans,
Okay.
Denzel
Nice.
Washington.
Yep.
That's gonna be the top of my list, right? There were so many messages and so much,
Mhm.
the way a team had to come together. And especially the community that was divided had to come together. So a lot
Mhm.
was said in that one. My number 2 is Jerry Maguire. Uh,
Yeah, let's
Hugh
go.
and Tom Cruise, man, show me the money.
Show me the money.
Yeah, I've got a soundbite, and I think season of 2003. Before I was getting ready to sign an extension with the Chiefs, man, and they asked me, man, what is it going to take for you to get on the field? And I just said, show me the money, right?
Did
So
you? Oh, direct quote. Love it.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, definitely, that's one of my greatest quotes
Yeah.
as well. And then my number 3 is Jamie Foxx in Any Given Sunday.
Ah,
Oh,
love it. Well, you can't go wrong with Jamie Foxx. What a
yeah.
talent. I've worked with Jamie and he's amazing. He's
And
amazing.
then, of course, all the antics that happen on and off the field, you
Yeah,
could talk about, does that really happen? Some version of it definitely happens, in the
sure.
midst of a season for a team and definitely in the off season. But there's one we also didn't fail to mention because there's actually movie number 1 and 2, and that's The Longest Yard. I
Oh,
think that's
okay.
with
Longest yard.
Burt Reynolds, right?
Yeah, the old school, not the remake, but the old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Waterboy. I don't that never even hit.
Oh, there we go.
In terms of just you wanna turn something on and just laugh and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it's hilarious, and all the antics you can think about that happen around a football season and playing football. Yeah, the longest, I'm sorry, but that one, uh,
Waterboy,
yeah,
Waterboy, sure.
Waterboy
And
definitely.
look, after Waterboy came out, we all knew what a medulla oblongata was, right? We
Yes.
all knew. We all knew. It's like I've never said that word in my life. Now I'm saying it all the time. Yeah,
Yeah,
Waterboy was a lot of fun. That was a really fun one. Yeah, for me, Draft Day is up there, obviously, just because it's about the Browns. But I thought it was really well written. It was really fun and it was interesting. And I love when they kind of blur the lines a little bit and they have cameos from actual people, whether it's players or media members, contributing, or they're filming at the actual Radio City Music Hall where the draft's going down. Like, I love it because it makes it feel just that much more real. And look, I'll take any movie that's gonna let the Browns feel like they're on top for 5 seconds.
yeah.
So I'll take that. Jerry Maguire's on the top of my list too. That's a top 3 for
Yes,
me.
classic,
Just
yeah.
just so good, classic. I'm gonna throw this one out there. The movie Rudy. I despise Notre Dame. I'm an Ohio State Buckeye fan. I don't like Notre Dame. A lot of my family went to Notre Dame, but I'm sorry, college team aside, whenever you watch that movie, man, I cry every time. I get choked up. Just that underdog story. There's something about that for any athlete who has a dream or wants to touch
Yes.
something special. And it's like one play on special teams, and you're just, oh my God, Priest, man, I can't handle it. But Rudy's up there for me. Yeah.
This is what I say about, Rudy, and there's 2 other movies that I could talk about as well. Let's
Yeah.
see. There's Rudy, I believe was it Invincible?
The Invincibles, the Mark Wahlberg one,
Mark
Philadelphia
Wahlberg
Eagles.
movie,
Yeah.
right? And then my
Shout out to
last
Dove Davidoff, by the way. Great
yes,
comedian,
absolutely.
awesome actor too. Yeah.
And then my last one would be Friday Night Lights. And the reason
Oh,
why I
yeah.
picked those 3 movies is because although they had an impact nationally, it really also is a certain pocket of the world, a certain
Right.
pocket
Yeah.
of the country, man, where that really resonates, like Friday
Sure.
Night
Sure.
Lights with Odessa Permian here in Texas, you know what I mean? Every high school team wanted to play Odessa Permian. And the only way you could get to state back in the 80s, 90s, you had to go through Odessa or Midland or Lubbock area.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I like those movies, but again, I think there's a certain pocket and generation that those
Yeah.
really speak to as well. But great movies and great acting as
Yeah.
well. And
Great
Mark Wahlberg
TV show.
is he's another one of my
Oh, he's
actors
a
that
go-to actor for you? All right, Leo DiCaprio, Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, sure. Mark's been in so many great movies.
yeah, he has, yeah.
All right, you threw out one comedy, and I'll close this portion of the convo up by throwing out another comedy. This is an honorable mention for me. I must have watched this movie 50 times as a kid. Did you ever see Necessary Roughness
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
Sinbad in there, man? Dude, I love that movie because I was raised on comedies. My dad was a goofball. We watched those movies all day, every day. But something about Necessary Roughness, it was one of the few movies I actually saw in the theater more than once. Like I went back, and there'd be nobody in the theater but my friend Scott. Oh, shout out to Scott Hanton. I haven't thought of Scott in a long time. We went and saw it in the movie theater like 2 or 3 times, and we were the only dudes in there, man. And we were just yelling, laughing, screaming out the lines, man. It's so fun. That was a funny movie, man.
Well, you're going Necessary Roughness, man. You got to remember Replacements.
Oh yeah,
Replacements is another
Replacements.
one.
Sure.
Well, what was based where the whole team walks out, and
Yep.
you have guys coming off of the street, and they're trying to throw the ball, kick the ball, catch the ball, and it's just like you're looking at the athleticism of them. You're just like, oh my goodness,
Yeah,
how's this
this
going
ain't
to work?
gonna work out. This ain't gonna work.
Yes,
Was that Keanu Reeves? Was
Keanu
Replacements
Reeves.
Keanu Reeves? Yeah.
Yeah, Keanu
Yeah, I
Reeves.
remember that. Super fun.
Breaking news from Bet365. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Sign up, place a bet for $5 and get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, player props, futures, and so much more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Hey, do you have a gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. Or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 21 plus only, 18 plus in Kentucky. Please gamble responsibly. Must be present in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, and select parishes in Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. $10 minimum deposit required. Terms and conditions apply. In-app only.
All right, we could talk football movies for days, and who knows, maybe we will. We've got 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, but let's shout out these AFC and NFC championship games because they were both really, really good.
Yes.
Priest, congratulations, 1 for 1 on your pick. You got 5 points for picking the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm
And
back.
man, you're back. You're back in the mix. You're not completely out. Yeah, you're not completely out. And look, you called it, man. Kenneth Walker III. Anytime he touched the ball, I felt like anything could happen. Dude was electric, man. When he broke it out and around on the right-hand side for that touchdown on the post, it was awesome. You knew he wanted to get in that end zone, and you could see it, Priest, because after we talked about playing for a contract, you could see there's a little extra pep in the step.
Absolutely.
And you knew he wasn't going to disappoint. But shout out to Sam Darnold, man. 3 touchdowns, just crushing it through the air. The defense was okay. The offense was spread it around. It's exactly what we talked about, that balance. And ultimately, that balance is what won that game, in my opinion. What were your biggest takeaways from that Seattle Rams game?
Yeah, well, so biggest takeaway, of course, was Kenneth Walker III. He definitely proved that he stepped up, during this NFC championship game, going over 62 yards rushing. And then, of course, coming out the backfield, and catching some receiving yards, the 49 yards as well. So it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You would like to rush for 100 yards, 150 yards. But as a running back, we always know, man, if I can get over 100 yards, whether that's combined receiving and rushing, I know I've had a huge impact in the game, and I think he had a huge impact that was kind of underlined, in terms of his production. But of course, Sam Darnold, he's proven again, man, what he can do when it comes down the stretch of a game and how he stays consistently handing the ball off and then putting the ball in the right receiver's hand. And he did that so many different times with Jackson and then Cooper Kupp. And then, of course, we had, what was it, Jake Bobo?
Yeah.
He's got one reception, and it's a 17-yard touchdown, man. That's got to be exciting for the kid.
I'll take it. I'd take that every day of the week, man. Absolutely. 1 reception, 1 touchdown. I'll take it.
I thought, of course, that, losing Charbonnet, obviously, with the Seattle Seahawks, I definitely thought that was going to take away from that tandem that they had there between him and Kenneth Walker. But Blake Corum, Kyron Williams, man, they definitely showed up really big for the Rams. And in terms of having that 1-2 punch, and they're both smaller backs because, it wasn't like 3 yards in a cloud of dust with any of those two. You're going to get to the perimeter, get to the second level. But they were very productive, very exciting early on in the game, and they continued continued to be productive throughout the game. But it was one of those things, man, when it came down to crunch time, Seattle was just more balanced. And of course, their biggest receiver, Jackson Smith, he definitely showed up big, with 153 yards and a
Yeah,
touchdown. And the
he's a
way that he
monster.
did it, Jackson caught the ball all over the field, whether it was a cross
Yes.
route, a deep ball, a short ball,
Mhm.
out the backfield. They talked about anytime he lines up in the backfield, he's going to get the ball. And true enough, you saw that a few times.
Well, that's a real X factor for you, no doubt. And look, muffed kicks don't help. And
Oh,
fourth and what was it, 4th and 6, and in the red zone, so close to the goal line, and they just couldn't get it done. But I believe the better team won. I am a little bummed for Matt Stafford. He had a heck of a season, and he played great too. He had an awesome game. If
yes, he
you
did.
ask Matt Stafford, you say, here's what your stat line's going to be at the start of this game, he'd say, I'd take that every day of the week and we're going to win. But unfortunately, they came out with a loss, and
Yeah, he
but a
was only
heck
a
of a
a
season.
few yards from 400 yards
Yep.
throwing. I mean, I definitely any quarterback, that's a great day. That's a good day,
Hmm.
throwing the ball. But unfortunately, Seattle's too well balanced, man. And I'm telling you, in terms of the production that Seattle has done over the year, man, their talent definitely has showed up really big.
Well, look, even across the board, I'll just shout out Puka Nakua, 165 yards and a touchdown. Stafford, obviously, 374 yards and 3 touchdowns. There weren't any interceptions in this game. All the running backs showed up, all the receivers showed up, the defenses showed up when they needed to. But
Yes.
it just was, look, home field advantage. Maybe that's what it was at the end of the day. But Seattle is going to the Super Bowl. All right. My pick was between the Denver Broncos and the Patriots. I picked the Patriots. I got lucky here, Priest. I'm not going to lie. This game was really close, basically even. And then the weather said, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on, everybody? I'm taking over." And seeing that time lapse video of how quickly it went from like nothing on the field to, oh my gosh, all of a sudden we can't see the lines anymore was pretty
Exactly.
wild. And it had a clear effect on the game. No doubt about it. But at the end of the day, both teams have to play in the same weather. It was a little weird seeing the Patriots out there in those white jerseys because a couple of them went missing here and there. But that must have been really, really tough. But shout out to Stidham, man, showing up for the Broncos. He didn't play too bad. You didn't know what you were going to get. I thought he was going to get crushed a lot, but I thought he played pretty well. He managed the game well, and anybody could have won that game too. When you got weather that bad at the end of the day, it just takes one guy to slip for a receiver to go for a touchdown. So, what were your
Yeah.
big takeaways between Denver and New England?
Well, although the conditions that you had mentioned were the same for both teams, there were a few positions that they were in earlier in the game that I think that on the Denver Broncos side, in terms of the coaching calling and staff calling, I think they should have went for the 3 points early on. Anytime you got a
Mhm.
younger quarterback, first time really getting into the mix of things, what do you do? Anytime you get in the red zone, you take the chip shot, you get the 3 points because
Mhm.
going for a fourth down, it just deflates the team, especially with the guy that hasn't had enough snaps, there on the offensive side of the ball. It really hurts, and so I think that that was one of the major hiccups that they could have taken advantage of getting those 3 points early on, and that was before the snow happened. Because
Right,
once the snow
right.
came in, then it became whether or not you were going to be able to run the ball more successful. And the Patriots with Stevenson was definitely able to get more run production during that time. I was really surprised that I thought RJ Harvey, the running back for the Denver Broncos,
Mhm.
yeah, he had several times where he had like 9 yard gains, 10 yard gains. And, it was just what they needed to kind of relieve Stidham. But at the end of the day, I think that Stevenson had a lot more productivity. He had 25 carries, so he definitely fed him as
Sure,
a running back, and he had
sure.
71 yards. So, yeah, that definitely is going to end the game. And it got very difficult for any of the teams to do anything because the front four on both defenses, they just let their ears back and just go forward and just rush the
Mhm.
quarterback. No
Yeah.
rhyme or reason. He's not going to be able to get the ball off in time. It's not going to be a perfect throw. So let's just blitz him and rush him, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, I mean, look, weather gets that bad, nobody could really do anything, and the stats show that, right? Drake May, only 86 yards passing. He ran for one, but There was no touchdown passes there. Stidham actually had more passing yards, and he actually threw for one. R.J. Harvey wound up with only 37 yards. When you look at the receivers, too, Hollins, top receiver, 51 yards. Mims, 62 yards. There just weren't any stats across the board here. But I believe the better team won yet again in this one, even if it was barely. So now the Broncos finally taste what it's like to lose by just 3 points.
Yeah, they do. You see, another thing also, Mark, is what catches up to an offensive side is that you got a young quarterback that hasn't had as many snaps, right? And so
Mhm.
you're game planning all week for these situational plays. And I think on that touchdown where he threw for a touchdown, which he executed very, very well,
Mhm.
that shows you he was paying attention when they were talking about situational downs and I got this and I know exactly what to do, how to execute, go through my progression. But then you saw on several times when he got pressured and it was no longer just a situational down and you got to just be an athlete and figure it out.
Yeah.
There were several
Yeah.
times where instead of him being a passing quarterback, he looked like me trying to be a running back throwing the ball. Man, he was just like pushing the ball forward. And I said, that's what I'm talking about being when you're not getting enough reps. It
Yeah.
shows up and
Yeah.
it showed up then when he got under pressure. He didn't know what to do with the ball. Instead of being a quarterback and throwing it, he just pushed it with both hands, you know? And
Yeah.
so,
Basketball pass.
yeah, there you go. Yeah,
yeah.
like,
It
yeah,
was
basketball.
interesting seeing that. It was
And
interesting
I said,
seeing that.
and several times, and we saw it twice, and one resulted in a fumble, and then of course another one just a incomplete pass. But it just shows you, man, the work that these guys put in, and how specific and how much studying you have to be able to do in terms of going out there on a Sunday and playing football.
Well, Priest, at the end of the day, I think, me personally, I believe that we got the best matchup we could get for the Super Bowl with the Seahawks and the Patriots. I think this is going to be a really, really awesome game. I think it's going to be a good game. And I think we're going to walk away from this one saying that was a heck of a Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to be low scoring. I think, if the Patriots do want to win this game, and I know right now they're not favored, they're going to have to put up numbers. It's as simple as that. And Drake's going to have to break out of this little funk he's in. Like, they're still winning. You're a good team when your quarterback's not playing that great and you're still getting it done. And that's a shout out to the Patriots defense, who no one's been talking about. They're better than everyone thinks they are, and they're able to win games and also keep them in the game so that Drake May can put the icing on the cake. But
Well,
looking forward to it.
yeah, well, I can tell you what, one thing that we will see versus Seattle playing the Patriots is that they're going to have somebody shadowing Drake, definitely, because they're not going to allow him that in the event
Yeah.
something's not working with the passing game, he's just going to tuck and run the ball for 15, 20 yards at a time.
Yeah, and he can
That's
do
not going to
that.
happen. So
Yeah.
I was surprised that there was not more shadowing done on Drake, and they allowed him to be in. They were in like a cover two to where it was just everyone was backed off, and the middle of the field was wide open,
Yeah, it's
and
like, oh,
so
here's a free 40 yards. Yeah, I'll
yeah.
take
So
it. Yeah.
that's the one thing also with the Patriots, and you could see from Vrabel, head coach, him knowing and understanding the game and being around it, is that he
Mhm.
just put receivers out there and made sure that they just cleared the field and opened it up the middle of the field, and they took advantage of them because there was no one, absolutely no one that shadowed Drake
Yeah.
when he was scrambling on the run.
Well, look, good coaching from Vrabel. Good coaching from Vrabel, and the Patriots are back in this. Can you believe it, man? I feel like the Patriots are just always in the Super. They're just always in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they're
Killing me.
back between the Chiefs and the Patriots. They
Yeah,
have been
that's it.
the two teams over the last decade, it seems like. But the Chiefs
Yeah.
obviously failed to make it, and
Yeah.
hats off to New England Patriots and their team.
All right, Priest Holmes. It's never ordinary with Bet365. Shout out to them. They've been riding shotgun with us this entire season. We love it. Thank you very much. And we're going to have a little fun here because this is, the Super Bowl's not this weekend. So I thought we could have a little fun. And by that, I mean, we're going to pick some of these Super Bowl specials futures, if you will. Okay.
Gotcha.
So I've got a list of 12 things that could happen
Okay.
in the Super Bowl. They're a little crazy. Now, this isn't super crazy where it's like, how long's the national anthem going to be sung for? How many times are they going to show Taylor Swift on the screen? We're not going to do that. These
Gotcha.
are things that can actually happen in the game, but they're pretty wild. All right. So if any one of these were to happen, it'd be pretty amazing. And we're going to go back and forth, and we're going to pick from the list that we have in front of ourselves. And then we're each going to have 6. And then after the Super Bowl ends, we're going to see if we hit on any of these. And if we did, that will determine the winner. And if we end up being a tie and none of them hit, or maybe one hits for each, or even 2, we're going to decide it by the coin toss. So in front of you, and we'll just say these as we go so we don't repeat ourselves.
Okay.
But as always, I'll be gracious. I'll let you pick first, Priest. Your name's on the show. I think you should go first. Of the 12 things listed there, what do you think is the most likely to happen that you want to put your name on in hopes it can score you a point here?
Oh man, let's see.
I know it's a crazy list, right?
Winning the field goal at the end of regulation. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, we know
Okay.
that's gonna probably take place. It usually does in such a hostile environment like a Super Bowl game, man. It's either a blowout or it's a tight game.
That's true. Okay, so you're putting your name on a winning field goal at the end of regulation.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's a good pick. That's what I would have picked first as well. Because I think the chances of that happening are probably greater than some of these others. As I comb over here, because that was going to be my number one. Let's see. Man, some of these are crazy, right? All right.
What you got? So what you got?
I'm going to say, man, both these quarterbacks are good. I'm going to say an octopus is going to be scored by any player. And for those of you out there who might not know what an octopus is, it's when a player scores a touchdown and then gets the 2-point conversion right after as well. So they actually get their team 8 points instead of just the 6 for the touchdown, because obviously whoever got the touchdown probably isn't going to kick the ball. So I'm going to put my name on the octopus to be scored by any player, Priest. I think I don't know who's going to do it. I feel like that's more of a Patriots thing to do. So I'm going to say somebody from the Patriots is going to do it. But the initial bet here, octopus to be scored. All right, you're up. What do you got?
Oh man, this is good. Let's see. I'm gonna go with any non-quarterback to throw for a touchdown.
Ooh, any non-quarterback to throw for a touchdown. Okay.
Yes. And if anyone was to do this in any antics to make just the season be more exciting for him and his family and everything that he's got going on, I'm
Yes.
going with Diggs is going to be the one to throw that ball.
Diggs. Ooh, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. I like it. Ooh, Diggs with the Super Bowl touchdown pass. I love it. Ooh, now if that were to happen, Priest, and let's say the Patriots indeed win the game, does that automatically put him in the conversation for MVP?
It also depends. Just going off of that one play, if he did that, no, not MVP.
Okay.
He's going to have to do something. His production is going to have to be also off the charts, and he'd have to also have receptions and also have receiving yards over 125 yards.
Oh, 125. Okay. I was going to suggest, let's say Diggs gets 110, a touchdown, and then he throws for an 8-yard touchdown. That doesn't get you the MVP? That's got to get you the MVP, man. That's crazy.
You've got to have the production around that as well,
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, look,
yeah.
if Deion Branch can get MVP, if Deion Branch can get MVP for the Patriots in the Super Bowl, Diggs can get it too. Ooh, that's a fun one. All right, I like that. All right, let's see. Now, there are 2 non-quarterback options here. One is a touchdown. You kind of get this other one.
Yeah.
The non-QB to record a pass attempt. I could steal that one from you. And because if he throws an incompletion for a touchdown or just any pass, I can win there. So I think I'm going to steal that one from you, Priest. I think I'm going to go ahead and take that. And I'm not going to say it's Diggs that throws it, though. I'm going to say, let's see, who...
Well, you got Hollins, Henry.
Yeah, Hollins, but I'm thinking I was going to say, I think it might be a running back.
No.
But who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Because I got two choices primarily here.
Stevenson,
Or Henderson. I'm going to say Stevenson.
Okay.
I'm going to say Stevenson's going to have a pass attempt. Okay, you're up next. Go ahead.
Oh man, this gets good. Oh man,
This is fun, man.
yeah.
Here, I'll bold these two so we know which ones were already picked. Okay.
This is a tough one, but I've been in a game. Excuse me. Any kickoff return for a touchdown. I'm going
In the
with that one.
Super Bowl. Okay.
I've
Any
I've
kickoff
been
return.
in it, and I've seen 2 return kickoffs return for a touchdown in the same game. So I'm going with that one because I've seen it
Okay.
there, done it, and seen it in person.
All right. I got you locked in. Any kickoff returned for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That would be wild. It would be
That
awesome.
would be very wild, especially with the constraints that they have now on the
Yeah.
return teams. It would be.
But look,
wild.
anything can look. All these are ridiculous. If any of these happen, I'm going to be blown away.
Yeah,
All
I mean,
right.
since you're bolding it in and you got the ability to correct these, you might want to add any kickoff or punt return since we know it's
Oh,
limited.
you want to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Any kickoff or punt return. Okay. Or punt return. Because that's probably the more likely of the two, I would think. Okay. There. I'll give that to you, Priest. Okay. Here's another fun one. Because honestly, I just want to have fun with this and I want to pick something wacky. I want to see any QB to record a reception. I'm going to go with that. I don't think this is going to be a trick play where, like we said, a non-quarterback attempts a pass. I don't think that's going to be the case with this one. I think this is going to be a deflection.
Back to the quarterback.
Back to the quarterback, like off a helmet.
Okay.
I think it's going to be something really wacky. It's going to be like maybe a lineman gets his paw up there, a little deflection, bounces off the helmet right back to the QB. I think it's going to be Sam Darnold. I think he's going to get it. All right, go ahead, Priest.
Well, man, I'm going any offensive lineman to score a touchdown. The reason why I'm going with that is because what we just previously seen, obviously, in the NFC and AFC championship games, and especially what happened with the Patriots and Denver Broncos.
Uh-huh.
When you get to a point, which I don't understand why they never decided to do this, but when you get to the point where you can't throw the ball and it's snowing and you have the advantage as a runner and as an offensive lineman because you know where you're going first and the defense has to react. I'm not sure why they didn't put in like a tank offense and they just bring in the extra linemen, the extra tight ends, and they just didn't run downhill. And so if it becomes a situation like that where for whatever reason the passing game isn't working, look, put a big lineman in the backfield, the one who has the best hands, the one that dances the best is usually the guy that's going to get that luxury and, getting the ball, for us, you know what I mean? It would have been Will Shields. We'd give Will Shields the ball, you know what I mean?
So do you think, wait, not to stop you, but do you think that if either of these two coaches are thinking, all right, it's the Super Bowl, we got to have at least one or two trick plays in our back pocket. Here's what I'm thinking. And they're thinking a lineman runs it in or catches a pass. Do you think they're having a secret meeting with the linemen and they're having a dance-off competition and not telling the linemen? They're just saying, hey, guys, I need you to dance for a few seconds. I just got to check something real quick.
Yeah. No, that probably would have happened during the preseason at the beginning of the season when guys were, just having fun and spending a lot of time, in the locker rooms and stuff like that. But yeah, they're going to have to call some kind of meeting. I don't know if they're going to ask them to dance, but I think they already got film on them because most guys that just like to have fun, like to dance, they can't help themselves. At some point after one of those games that was won, somebody threw on music in the locker room and one of those linemen,
One was grooving like there. Yeah. I love it, man. And there's nothing funnier too, seeing someone get in the end zone who has no business being there, doesn't know what to do. They're not sure if they should spike it, how to spike it. Am I supposed to do it? I don't know what to do. It's fun to see those guys get caught up between three mindsets. Okay. All right, cool. So you're taking offensive linemen to score a touchdown. Love that.
Yeah.
This is a safe bet. I actually think this has a chance to happen, which is why I'm going to pick it. And that's both teams to have a successful fourth down conversion. Now, I know in the Super Bowl, most people play more conservatively, and no one wants to risk it with the biscuit on fourth down, but I'm thinking this Super Bowl is going to get nuts. Because
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of scoring. There's going to be a lot of pressure to follow up a score with another score, having just been scored on, and fourth down conversions. Look, when you're deep and you're in the red zone and you're at the goal line anyway and it's fourth down, I know you were saying take the points because of things like weather, but I think in the Super Bowl and under better conditions, you have a better chance to convert. So both teams have a successful fourth down conversion. It's got to be both teams, Priest, not just one. I got to have both. All right, you're up. We each get 2 more.
Well, I know if anyone can do it, I'm going with Jackson Smith. Enigma, 75-yard touchdown will be scored.
Ooh, okay, all right.
Who has the ability to do that? He definitely does.
Okay, so Sam Darnold throwing a 75-plus yard touchdown. All right, I love it. 75-yard touchdown. Okay, let's see, we got 3 left here. Ooh, one of those I doubt it's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to steal this one from you. I know you chose any kickoff or punt return for a touchdown. This kind of buys me a safety net for that in case it actually does happen. I'm going to say opening kickoff to be returned for a touchdown. It's specifically the opening one, so that's going to be a lot harder. It's going to be more difficult, but we both win if that does happen. So I'm going to go ahead and take that one.
Okay.
All right, what you got for your last pick? There's 2 left here.
Well, I'm going to tell you, as careful as these 2 quarterbacks has been between Sam Darnold and May,
Ooh, okay.
I think they're going to be ultra conservative and they're not going to risk the Super Bowl by putting their team in a situation by throwing a pick 6.
Okay.
So I'm going to end with any missed kick to hit the post or crossbar.
Ooh, okay. I wanted that one, but you got it. I love it.
Yep.
All right. That's a fun one, man. That's a fun one. And that could happen. You know, kickers, these extra points, you know, they're harder now. They're farther back. Field goals, they used to be easy peasy, but not so much anymore. A lot of extra pressure in the Super Bowl. You know it. All right. So you're taking any missed kick to hit a post or crossbar. And that leaves me at the final one, which you alluded to there, a pick 6 in the game from either quarterback. I'm with you. I don't think that one's going to happen, but famous last words, right? Famous last words. All right, we've got our 6 picks each that we'd like to hopefully see come to fruition. That you can rock out on Bet365. So have some fun with some of those. But look, Priest, that was an even number 12. And like anything, especially you don't like ties. You don't like ties in football. So we cannot have a tie in this either. So our tiebreaker is going to be the coin toss. And I will let you pick whether you want to call it heads or tails. Do you want to call it heads or tails, or do you want me to call it heads or tails?
You got it.
You want me to pick it?
Now,
Priest, I'm gonna
you allow me to call, so you got it.
Look. I'm gonna offer you a chance to back out here because I don't know if you've been paying attention, but I've gotten every single one of my playoff picks right. You know that, right?
Yeah, but this is
every
the
single
one.
one.
This is the one.
This is it. This is where the levee breaks.
Okay. Yeah, this is where you get it wrong.
Okay.
Mark.
All right. Man, most people go heads. I'm going tails. Mark calls tails. All right, Mark calls tails. That'll be the tiebreaker in this particular competition that we're playing. Good luck to you, Priest. We're not going to find out the results in those for 2 weeks, but that sure was a lot of fun. And speaking of fun, guess who we have coming up on the show today that we failed to mention up top?
Oh, I can't wait, man. This is a buddy of mine that I've known for a long time. Been in the same backfield. He's actually someone that I watched when I was in college. And so I'm excited to have him, man. Mark, tell him who we got, man.
That's right. We got Errict Rhett, and I'll give everybody. No, I won't. But if you can spell Errict Rhett correctly, you're the man. Because I don't even know if Eric can Eric spell it right. I don't know. We're gonna ask him about it. Here's Errict Rhett, everybody, on the home stretch.
Hey, do you have a gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. Or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 21 plus only, 18 plus in Kentucky. Please gamble responsibly. Must be present in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, and select parishes in Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. $10 minimum deposit required. Terms and conditions apply. In-app only.
All right, Priest Holmes, ready to bring another special guest onto the home stretch.
Yes.
Someone you know personally. I'm going to tip everybody else off in the rest of the world, though, as to who we got. This guy was drafted in the second round, 34th overall in the 1994 NFL Draft by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was a PFWA All-Rookie team in 94, first-team All-American in 1993, two-time first-team All-SEC in 91-93, second-team All-SEC in 92. He's in the the University of Florida Athletic Hall of Fame. He was a professional player in the National Football League, your teammate.
That's it.
And if you're playing Scrabble and you're looking for an R, an E, or a T, this is your guy's name, Errict Rhett. What's up, Errict Rhett? How you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for having me.
Of course.
We're good. We're good. Errict, man, it's been a minute.
Yes, Priest, it's been quite a while. You know, last time we had dinner, we had some great food hanging out, and you and your family and my family, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, man. So, the last time that we saw each other, I think Benny Hannes?
It was Benny Hannes.
It was Benny Hannes the last time.
Cook the food up and throw it in front of you. They landed in their hat.
Were they squirting they have like a little
I
chicken,
think they did.
they're squirting water.
I think they were. Yeah.
So fun, man.
We had a ball.
Yeah,
Great
we did.
food.
That's great. All right, Eric, let's talk a little bit before your paths crossed, you and Priest. So before you met Priest, talk a little bit about your upbringing, coming from Florida and your time there at the University of Florida as a Gator.
Well, let's say, coming up, I grew up in a part of South Florida, and very, very humble beginning. No, not really humble, just poor as hell. So I grew up in a very poor family, and my only goal was to probably graduate high school and hopefully go to college. And I had a coach who was very demanding, man. He was really all about just like character first and carrying yourself like a professional player all the time. And he asked me what my goals were, and my goals are simply to go to college, and that's really it, because we really didn't have anybody that ever made it out of South Florida that made it to the pros at the time. Maybe a couple guys, and I remember my coach coming to my house, and he was like, when he went inside, he was like, "Errict, I've never seen those kind of living conditions right there."
Okay.
And usually I would tell a young man, my goal is for you to go to college. But in this case right here, son, you got to make it.
Yeah.
You got to make it. So these are the steps right here, what it's going to take for you to make it. You're going to have to separate yourself from everybody else that you're playing with right now. All of your friends, you have to do something to separate yourself. Your mother, she's going to become your why. My mother was my compelling why to why I had to make it. My mother slept on a green couch for 18 years. And and you guys haven't saw the video. Priest, I'll actually send you the video. A friend of mine made a video about, my mother, and it's got like 2 million hits. So it's a great video to see. But she became my compelling why I had to make it. And I went off to University of Florida. I got a scholarship to the University of Florida. I wasn't only a football player, I was a wrestler as well in high school. So, it was the decision, do I want to go to college for football or do I want to go to college for wrestling? So, but like football at the time was paying more money if I ever make it to the next level, but wrestling, the only place you can go is to the WWF,
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, could you see
They had a
it?
ceiling on that.
You see Errict in WWF, man? Could
Look,
you see him?
if you know Errict
Yeah.
like I know
Look at
Errict,
him. Look at him go.
he can transform into that character. He sure can.
All right, let's hang on that for a second. Errict, if you could come up with a well, it was WWF back then, WWE now. If you could come up with a wrestling character, who would you be? Like, did you already have it in your head, like a nickname, your walkout music, like your finishing move?
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you, it's so crazy because Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, I
Woo!
lived in Tampa, and all those guys were my friends. And even The Rock, I used to work out with The Rock's dad. And I tell you what,
Oh
man, my
man,
name was been E.R. Stormer. That was
E.R.
my name. They
Stormer.
used to
ER
call me
Stormer.
E.R.
Let's
Stormer
go.
because I'm gonna bring the storm.
I love it.
So what's the finishing move for the Stormer? What's
The
what's
guillotine.
the
It's the
guillotine?
guillotine.
Put him in the guillotine, huh?
Put
Shred
him in
him.
the guillotine. Hey, listen, I was a high
Heads are
school
gonna
wrestler.
roll.
Huh?
Heads are
Now,
gonna roll.
I know, like it was the guillotine. So in the WWF, in professional wrestling, they would call that move the abdominal stretch. But in amateur wrestling on a high school or collegiate level, they call it the guillotine.
Okay.
Right,
So
right.
and I pinned a lot of people with that guillotine. I would have just kept it going.
There it is.
There it is. I love it, man.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So ultimately, you wind up at the University of Florida, and you played under Coach Steve Spurrier, who's a legendary coach there. What was that experience like, getting recruited and walking out onto that field and the home of Gatorade? For the first time. What was that like?
Oh man, that was truly amazing. Coach Spurrier didn't recruit me. He came my first year. A guy by the name of Galen Hall recruited me,
Okay.
and we had a top-notch running back that was there at the time. I don't know if you ever heard of this guy's name. His name is Emmitt Smith. He
Absolutely.
was a pretty good running back. He wasn't
Emmitt
bad
who?
at all.
Emmitt
You
who?
know, there was room for improvement, but he was a pretty good running back. So he was the first team running back there, and it was great to be able to just to compete with him every day. And we actually were roommates on game day, so I was able to see firsthand how this guy prepares for a game. And it's unbelievable his preparation, how he prepares, man. And I'm honored to be part of that right there. But when Spurrier came to University of Florida, this right here is like anything you've ever seen before, Priest, because this right here is a play calling genius.
Wow.
We have been around a lot of offensive coordinators and head coaches before, but this is the kind of guy where you never have to worry about the game. You
Okay.
never have to worry about where we in or what time of the game. And one thing about the way he prepares his team, whether we win or lose, you're gonna have some fun, and everybody's gonna participate in the game
I like
because
that.
he's gonna light the scoreboard up. He's gonna light it up.
So everybody
So,
gonna get in and get
Yeah,
a chance
so
to eat.
Priest, the one thing I tell you I do right now, I go back to a lot of collegiate games all over the country, and I always get an opportunity to go in the locker room, and even after a win, you have half of the team celebrating, and the other half of the team kind of upset, and half of them ready to go in the portal that night because like they're not playing, they didn't participate, they practiced off. In Steve Spurrier's offense, he made it so everybody had fun, everybody participated. And that's the way it was. And we lit the scoreboard up while everybody contributed to the win.
Let me ask you, as far as just that, your locker room when you was there in Florida, now coming to the Baltimore Ravens, obviously being in Tampa, just when you look at the different backfields that you've been in, what were some of the differences or similarities that you could
Let
probably
me let
take
me
from that?
just let me just do it better. I believe that let's look at the cultures,
Gotcha.
the
okay.
culture of being in Tampa from going to Baltimore. First of all, when I left Tampa, the locker room was completely different. It was more of an older style team, and this was a time when this was a different style back then where like when rookies come in the league, man, we were nearly like tortured
Yeah.
It was a whole nother different vibe. After 96, a lot of that stuff calmed down, so like it was, man, you had to go get pads, you had to go bring food every day. I mean, you had to do whatever these upperclassmen wanted you to do. Man, you was a rookie. So it was a whole nother vibe. And then I stayed there 4 years. And then when I was traded to Baltimore, I didn't even know I was coming to Baltimore. I had a holdout situation that was
Mhm.
going in Tampa, a real terrible contract issue there. And I was traded to the Baltimore Ravens for like a fourth round pick.
Gotcha.
And I tell you, man, when I first got there, I had never seen Afro American people this big. I never seen nothing that big in my life, Priest.
Yeah.
I mean, the offensive line that we had, Priest, that's not humanly possible. That's not normal what we had.
Yeah, we talked
It was,
about Blackshear,
I mean,
Zeus.
Priest,
Yeah.
Black Shear, that's the first time I saw a guy with his traps stood outside his helmet.
It sure did. It sure
I
did.
mean, his traps were humongous. And then Big Zeus, Orlando Brown, God bless the dead,
Yeah.
and God bless the dead with Jeff Blackshear. This Zeus, I've never seen a human being 6'8", 380 that has an attitude and walks around with his shirt off.
That's right.
I mean, literally, it was days when he would get mad at the press and shut down practice.
That's right.
They just called the practice. We're done for the day because this guy would shut it down.
Wow.
He would.
I mean,
Yeah.
this locker room, man, the locker room back in Baltimore, man, it was so many different attitudes in the locker room, and it's just everything you wanted in that in on the street or whatever was in that locker room, whatever you ever could imagine.
And
That's
then Big Ogden,
Oh,
sure.
yes,
and
indeed.
then I mean, so you're starting from 6'5", 6'6", 6'8", and then you go all the way up to like 6'9", 6'10", and then the guy has an afro.
That's
On
right.
top of that, what does that make him? 6'12",
Yeah, puts him at
6'13",
7 feet.
Yeah,
Oh
because he
man.
wasn't tall enough already,
Yeah, it was a
right?
different. It was a different offensive line for sure.
Man,
It
that's
definitely was.
crazy. All right, Eric. I want to ask you about meeting Priest for the first time, and I want to vibe check on Priest Holmes when you first crossed paths with
Errict,
him.
he's basically trying to get some dirt. He's trying to get that dirt on me, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I
he's
want
trying.
to because look,
Hey,
we recently had Coach Simon on.
Yeah, we had Coach Simon on, Matt Simon,
oh
So
my
and just
goodness.
so he shared some delicious stories about
yeah.
Priest and his vibe back then. But what was your read on Priest when you first crossed paths with him?
Man, let me tell you what Priest is, and I still use this philosophy to the day.
It's always
You know what I'm saying?
philosophy with you. I love it.
It's almost like he had this philosophy, like he would quickly say, "My name Bennett, and I ain't in it." That's what he was. You could not get nothing out of him. If you're talking about somebody, Priest would be like, "My name Bennett, I ain't in it." But
Keep
this
those
is one
secrets.
thing I could tell you this right here. Priest's preparation for a game is unparalleled to anybody, unmatched to anybody you could even imagine. This guy will watch so much film. I mean, he will spend all day, all night in there studying the film. And that's something that, I've always admired. So like when you guys see him at Kansas and he's excelling. He's going to Pro Bowl lead, NFL player, NFL Offensive Player of the Year, and leading the NFL in rushing and touchdown. Oh, that's the chicken. That's the chicken. But you guys don't know nothing about the egg. And the egg right there happened long before that. If he wasn't playing, he's in there getting that studying done. So he's getting that mental part of the game ready. So when he started excelling and reaching to the top, it's nothing new to me because I already knew what was going to happen. Oh, I was saying I used to play Priest in chess all the time. We just played chess all day long when we was at the Baltimore Ravens because there wasn't really nothing else to do in Owens Mills, Maryland. So after every practice, we would go play chess, have fun, eat dinner, come back and play some more chess. That's all
Ooh,
we did.
all right.
Yeah, Errict, that you mean in terms of just the locker room, that
Yeah,
intensity.
yeah.
Um,
Well, what were your first impressions, Priest, of
yeah,
of
so
of Eric
Errict,
Rhett? How much about Eric did you know before you
so of
became
course,
teammates?
coming out of college, I was watching Errict, especially as
Sure.
with him being a professional, and so I already knew there was something different about Errict. I knew there
Yeah.
was a little dog in him, you know what I mean,
Sure.
a little
Sure.
fight in him. So
Yeah.
especially when I learned the fact that he was a wrestler as well,
Mhm.
and then of course, if you ever to meet Errict
Mhm.
and you get a handshake, oh,
Uh-oh.
he about to crush
Is
those
he
knuckles.
crushing it?
He about to crush them knuckles. So
He's broken some
yeah, so
hands?
that's
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the things that Erett is infamous about, man. He gonna
Okay.
give you that handshake and you will remember you shook his hand. So
That's
where'd that
right.
come from, Erett? Man, what was that about?
Okay, so I'm a wrestler, and you can always tell a wrestler's grip. It's not using a lot of muscle, it's just a very tight grip that let people know, hey man, remember this right here.
That's
This is
right.
a man you're talking to.
That's
And
right.
so it's a strong grip, man.
Yeah,
That's
and so
crazy.
we definitely had a chance to know Eric, and then of course as far as being a leader, ultimate one, man.
Mhm.
You talk about lifting weights,
Sure.
running plays, talking that talk.
Yeah.
He's not going to be the one talking and waiting for somebody else to go do it. He's going to lead by
He's gonna
example.
show you.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
love
So
that.
yeah, so he definitely came at the right time.
Yes.
As far as me being just in my second year,
Mhm.
it was the ability for me to see a veteran, someone that I admired and also someone that I'd watched over the years as well. But to see that work ethic and to be and what a running back is really represents. So
Yeah.
Erep, between the time that you came in and thinking about you as a running back, how do you rate or grade these younger guys today?
Oh man, Priest, you couldn't have asked me a better question.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That is
He's been
that
sitting on
is
this.
Yes.
He's
such a
ready.
great question because like what people do not understand is this right here. Don't confuse being a great runner and then being a great running back.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
What do
That's
you mean
that's
by that?
Yeah, what do you mean by
two
that?
totally different worlds.
Yep.
Yep.
I know plenty of people that can run the football. They
That's right.
can run the football. Oh, they get that ball through. At any time they'll break that long one, right? What you need. But like those are the guys that got to come out of the game on third down. Or some of those guys right there, what they do when they hit their head. You ever see them hit their head?
Yeah,
That means they
tap
want
out.
to
Yeah,
come out
yeah,
the
they
game. You Priest, I ain't never seen you hit your head. Come on, I want to come out the game. I ain't never hit I want to come. You could give me the ball 40 times. The last carry be better than the first carry. The
That's right.
conditioning should be great. And Priest, if you can recall, every single time we touched the ball, we scored a touchdown.
That's
It
right.
doesn't matter where we at in practice. We never walked on the field or walked off the field. Man, we love the game that so much. But in order to be a great running back, you have to be able to run. You got to be able to block. You got to be able to punch a linebacker dead in his mouth.
That's
You
right.
know what I'm saying? And then you got to be able to catch.
That's right.
It's a lot of running backs, man, they can run the ball, but if you throw them the ball, they just can't catch.
That's right.
And and then far as throwing, then far as like being able to block, a lot of running backs they can't block. They've never even learned how to block. They'll shift the line, and that's one thing, man. When I got to Baltimore, I believe I was a decent running back. But after I left with Priest and all of them, a runner. But now when I left there, I was a running back because I never had to block before in my whole life. And I
That's right.
got there and I couldn't understand how you want me to block an outside linebacker. I'm 8 yards deep,
That's
and
right.
this Bryce Pop is running at me. He's 270 pounds. How am I gonna block this guy?
Yeah.
But man, learning the technique how to block where I don't have to come out the game on third down. See, they know you passing the ball, but when you could play every snap, oh man, that's what made Emmitt Smith so special, Sapriso, and all the running backs so special to where guys didn't come out the game on third down. They don't have to because hey, I can run, I can block, I can catch. Now, Priest, I bet you didn't know this right here, Priest.
What's that?
I'm gonna give you something that you didn't know. I'm the first running back in the history of college football to catch to have over 4,100 yards rushing and catch over 150 balls.
Mm.
So that go to show you a lot of people
Wow.
they can run the ball, but how many balls did they catch? I'm catching 7, 8 balls a game in college. So that's the difference right there. So the college football been around 200 years. Nobody's never caught 4,000 ran for 4,000 yards and caught 150 ball. That's unheard of. It just I don't know why, but but they.
Well, college football was waiting for you. They're
Yeah.
waiting for you, Eric. They're waiting for
Yeah,
you.
and that's Steve Spurrier's offense.
Yeah.
We learned what it was like to be a pro. You run, you block, you catch. But the blocking wasn't there until I went to Baltimore. And I remember asking Jonathan Ogden to stay out to show me how to block these big guys. And I remember the one thing we used to work on, he said, Errict, why are you giving him two ways to go? You want to give him just one way to go and get him to push him right on by. If you're not going to let him bull rush, because I think we were just as strong as most of the linebackers. We were, I think I was nearly a 500-pound bench presser, so I can handle. If you try to bull rush me,
Right.
I'm just going to sit down on it.
Yeah.
But like all that faking and stuff like that stuff would just get me going. But learning to only give those guys one way go. And then if they go outside, the quarterback could normally just step up and throw the ball,
That's right.
because but that's the question. That's a great question, Priest. The difference between the running backs being a great runner and being a great running back. Don't confuse a guy. Now we look at a guy that rushes for, almost 2,000 yards. But yes, he's a great runner. But I don't know how much of a great running back he is. It's a major difference.
That's
Yeah,
good.
big
Good
difference.
explanation.
Yeah, and then one of the things that Errict was talking about, Mark, is when you're deciding how you're going to block somebody coming off the edge, you have to eliminate one side of that jersey. So
Right,
it's
right.
Yes.
deciding, if he's going to go out or in, I'm going to eliminate half of that body.
Yes.
Right.
And the half of
Yes.
that body I'm going to eliminate, I'm going to be real strong on one side
Okay.
and
Yes.
light on another side, because I'm going to punch him if he step on this inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to ride him. I'm going to ride him on out, if he goes wide, so.
And Mark, you got to see this. Priest had developed this thing where he knows just when he punch you, his helmet goes up under your chin.
Yeah, that was back then when you could. That's
Yeah,
back when you could put those screws. The two screws on the
Yeah,
helmet.
sure.
That's when you could use those two screws.
I've seen him literally drop people.
That's
He
incredible.
get his, and he punch you, man, and it's just like it literally nobody's ready for it,
Sure.
But that's something,
that's
learning how to
awesome.
block. And then, Priest, we also learned how to run routes, man. We ran corner routes,
That's right.
we run digs, man. We ran all kind of routes and everything, and Coach Billick, he was man, he was special, man. It was like no drop balls. You guys, you guys are used to like dropping balls. He let it be known right when we got there, man. When he got there, there's no more drop balls. Even in pat and go, we're not dropping no balls.
That's right. Yeah, he was serious about that.
And the demand for perfection, that's when that started to come right there.
Well, I'm glad you brought up this name because Coach Simon told us this incredible story about Priest almost not going in to run a play that only Priest could do, that resulted in a touchdown and him spiking his helmet, taking it off and spiking it in the ground after this. I don't know if you remember this play. Maybe you do. You're laughing, so I think you do.
I saw him do it, but I don't know.
So we want to get your perspective on this play. I don't know if you want to paint the picture a little bit more, Priest.
Yeah, well, I think it was against the Saints, and it probably would have been in your second year,
Yes.
when you were with Baltimore together in the backfield, and it was just one of the plays where I had to basically like a wheel route. We used to run those
Yeah.
wheel
Oh
routes.
yeah,
as well.
I remember.
And the linebacker was playing inside and wasn't paying attention. And so I got up the sideline, and all of a sudden, boom, here comes the ball coming out. But prior to that, I was actually not wanting to go in on that play, just because I was so frustrated with Billick, in terms of, like I said, when Billick got there, I don't know if you remember this, and this is right around the time that you got there, obviously. But when Billick arrived, right, a year after you were already there, one of
Yeah.
the first things that he did was he called me in his office, and the first thing he said was, "You don't look like the running back I want coming down the tunnel." That was the first thing he said. Second
No
thing,
way.
yeah, and
No way.
second thing is that he says, "I would cut you, but I'm not, because of what the veteran guys are saying, that whoever you get rid of, don't get rid of Priest." So I had veteran guys coming to bat for me, when Billick arrived. But Billick and I, we had a very interesting, relationship. I knew where he stood, and I believe he knew where I stood as well. So it was one of those things where it was very, very frustrating at times. So
Priest. But you know what? But I would see you in that. And I went through it also. Your second year when Marchibona was there.
That's
It's
right.
almost like he did the same thing to me. So I knew just what it was like. But I remember we played against the Rams the first game of the year in '99, and you were starting, and I remember you going down, you're getting injured, or something happened to where, like, I was mostly just playing special teams and nothing, but all of a sudden I'm in on the offense, and I'm getting, and I keep looking over to the sideline. I'm wondering, like, damn, what's wrong with Priest? What's going on? I believe you hurt your knee or something like that. I believe, one or two games, and then, like, he just wanted to they didn't know how to use us together. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? His goal was they would just put one back in the game and just use it instead of using both of us together, and I was like, of course I don't say nothing at the time, because then when I end up, I remember, Mark, you got to hear this one. I remember I was a
Talk to
starter,
me.
right?
Talk to me.
And
Yeah.
Priest was in back of me, right?
Okay.
But let me tell you something. If anybody has a backup like Priest, Holmes, and back of you, let me tell you something. Your only goal, you better work your ass off and do whatever it takes, because don't let his ass come in the game. Because when his ass come in the game, he is so ready. And he has something that the NFL knows about. It's called fresh legs. And when you ain't been playing, you got fresh legs. Nobody can stop you. I remember we're playing against the Tennessee Titans, and I remember running the football, and when I landed, a guy tackled me on the ground, and the football hit me in the rib, and it cracked like 3 of my ribs.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, no, I can play. I know I can play because I know who my damn backup is. If his ass get in the game, it's over. So they say, no, your ribs are sticking out. We got to take you to the locker room. So the defense is out there right now. I'm hoping I can get a shot and make it back into the field and get back in there for the next play. I remember the guy just shooting me with a cortisone shot everywhere with this needle, and all of a sudden the screen came on, and I could look at Priest running the football, and while he's shooting the cortisone, I'm saying, no. Priest is running all over the Tennessee Titans. I mean, he's just destroying them.
That's a good times, man.
That's hilarious. He's over there trying to pop his ribs back in.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
tape me up, man.
Yeah, so you can just imagine, man, having Errict as your leader back there in the
Yeah.
backfield, man. Errict was a solid guy.
Yes,
He
man.
really was.
But you know what? Before every game, me and Priest would get together, man, and we do our little prayer, man, and, like,
That's
man,
right.
we be ready to go, man, because, like, we're supporting each other out there, man. I want to see him excel and do well, even if we're competing. But that's a place where I saw competition makes you great. And a lot of
Right.
young guys coming up right now, they don't realize that the first time you give them competition, they want to transfer. They want to leave. They want to go to another team or what, especially in college. You can transfer 4 times in 1 year. But, like, competition, it makes you great, and it makes you better in life when you have somebody competing with you to make you better. So, man,
Good.
I'm grateful for that guy.
Yeah.
Love that.
Just solid.
Now, not to change subjects here real quick, but Rhett, over your right shoulder, there's this poster. Obviously, it has your name on it. But this is you diving, and someone from Georgia is trying to tackle. Can you tell me what's happening in this picture right here? What's going on? Do you remember
Oh,
that?
that poster right there. That's
What a
that's
poster.
it says what, Errict versus Georgia. And, man, I've had some of the greatest games against Georgia.
Look at that. Look at
Some
those
of that's like
photos.
completely destroyed Georgia. We beat them 4 years in a row, and I just had record games every time I've had the opportunity to play against them. It's just something about playing against Georgia Bulldogs. And yeah, we're not like that anymore. We don't destroy them anymore. But back when Steve Spurrier was there, we beat them 12 times in a row. So man, that was a great honor. And someone gave me that poster and it says Errict against Georgia, and it has all the stats and stuff on there.
Oh, that's so cool,
Oh yeah,
man. What
man.
a cool
Yeah.
poster. I gotta make one of those for you, Priest. All those times
Yeah.
you jumping over the pile, man, flying like Superman.
Yeah.
We'll get that done. Well, look, I don't want to let this slide because I didn't mention it earlier, but
Yeah.
when you brought up that other running back that they already had, Emmitt Smith, you came in and you cleaned up shop, man, and you broke all of his records. So I'm not going to let that slide. I got to bring that to everyone's attention. You crushed it at the University of Florida, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, I was I worked hard every single day. It's definitely was it was deserving. I mean, because he really took me up under his wing, and Emmett knows that, hey man, the records are set to be broken. I expect you to go out there and do that right there.
It's
Because like
cool.
man, he took me up under his wing when he was there. So hey, I expect greatness. Keep on doing. And every single day, I went to school with that compelling why I had to make it. I have a mother back at home sleeping on the couch. So
Mhm.
every single day, all I could think about, I got to get my mother off the couch. I got to get my mother out of those living conditions. It was so bad back at home. So, man, every single day, there's nobody, it's not humanly possible enough for you to outwork me. So, like, I, I would literally have 12, 1,300 yards in practice every day. So, game day, 100 yards is nothing.
That's right.
Be
Yeah.
because, man, we work so hard. And Priest, when we came to Baltimore, me and you every day, man, we're running to the end zone. We're running to the end zone. And that's right, that's giving us our conditioning. Our
Yeah.
Yeah.
conditioning. But like that's an honor there to break records like that right there, especially when a guy like that holds them, he goes on to have a great career in the NFL, man. And so I was hoping Priest would break that record, but
It's all right. He
Yeah.
broke some records. Priest got a few records broken. He did okay for himself.
yes,
Yeah.
he did it. Oh, extraordinary.
Yeah, absolutely. All I'm thinking here, and I'm thinking like a coach right now, because, not to bring it back to this handshake of yours, Eric, but I would be sending you out to the coin toss every game, and so you could just shake and break the hands of all the best players on the other team right before the kickoff. You know what I'm saying? Get in there like, oh, how you doing,
Yeah,
crunch?
crunch that
How you
in.
doing, crunch? Knock out one of those hands, do some damage.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right,
yeah.
man. I tell you, man, I wish everybody would have an opportunity to like play in the NFL. Even if you don't play, I wish everybody had opportunity to just come and be in the locker room because
Mhm.
it's so much stuff that you see in a locker room
Yeah.
and the camaraderie that we built and the fraternity that we have and that what we are part of is just it's truly an amazing fraternity, man.
I think Priest, I think it's time to ask him what his biggest takeaway was
Yeah.
from being a professional running back. What was your biggest takeaway from being a professional in the National Football League? After all said and done and you've had some time to reflect, what
Wow,
ultimately is the takeaway for you?
man, just having that bond that I have forever, knowing that you are part of a 1% that make it. 1%. And some of us in Priest's case is like 0.001% to make it. And you're one of the best at what you did in the entire world. Imagine that right there. So I often get a chance to talk to some of my friends who are big time lawyers or big time doctors, and I will ask themselves, so how would you rate yourself in the city? And they would say, hey man, I think I'm the top five. I said, well, how would you rate yourself in the state? Top 10. How would you rate yourself in the country? Oh, I think I'm in the top 50. Imagine being one of the best in the world. And that's what Priest and all of us, man, we could say we made it to the NFL. We're one of the best in the world in what we do.
That's good.
That's
So
good.
that's
Yeah, it
one
is.
thing and if you could make it there, you can accomplish anything in this world because it's nothing, you can't buy this. It's not buyable. You can't buy this position right here. You got to earn it. And that's something I take with me in the real world right now. If I did that, it's nothing impossible.
Yeah. And so you talk about it, nothing impossible, Erect. Before we let you go, man, what are some of the things that you got going on right now? What you got cooking?
Oh man, we know Priest. I've always been in the real estate business. Even when I was playing, I was investing, and I'm still, investing and still in the real estate. I sit on the advisory board of the University of Florida, and we're doing quite a lot of work down in South Florida and everywhere. And I love it. And I get a chance to work with a lot of low income families, and I get a chance to work with kids like that there. So that I find joy. But like Priest, whoever I talk to, I'm gonna find joy. Whoever I run into, man, I'm gonna try to uplift everybody.
That's
So
right.
I live my life like that. I enjoy every single day.
Look at that.
Well, I gotta say, man, look, Eric, this is the first time I'm meeting you personally. I know you briefly had a little touchstone on the Cleveland Browns, my team. So thank you for that and those memories. But look,
Yes.
the energy and the fire you just brought today, man, I'm the biggest fan I could ever be of yours now already,
Oh
man. And I
man,
can't wait to
thank
meet you
you.
in person someday. But thanks for
Oh
bringing the
man,
heat today, man. Thanks for bringing
man,
the heat.
thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
of course.
Errict, you know you got a big Cleveland guy over here. That's why.
Yeah,
He's
Man,
a big
yeah.
listen,
Browns fan.
let me tell you about these Cleveland Browns, man.
Tell
These
me
fans.
about my Cleveland Browns, cause I need some hope, man. I need
Man, let
something.
me tell you,
Talk to me.
let me tell you, first of all, you guys are special. Man,
Okay.
it's people don't know that to be a Cleveland Brown. I remember when they first signed me to the Cleveland Browns, and I wasn't really nobody. Dwight Clark took me to a basketball game. Man, when a Brown walk anywhere, Priest, they show you love like I can't even begin to tell you. I mean, you can't walk in the grocery store. You can't go to McDonald's. You can't go to supermarket. No matter where you go, a Brown player, I don't care if you play special teams, they are going to show you so much love. When I had
go.
surgery, when I had surgery on my nose, the Browns fans picked me up, took me home, and took care of me, stayed in my house. Fans
Awesome.
that I don't even know. These fans right here are so loyal. They don't make a lot of money. They ain't no bunch of rich fans in some big rich city. No, what they have is they love for their Browns. They love their team so much. Right now, the friends that I made while that little short period while I was there, man, it's amazing the bond that we have, man. Just because you play with the Browns, they always love you, man. They show you so much love. And the passion that these fans have, man, they love their team. And I want to see them do well. I don't know what the problem is, but we want to see them do well. Everybody want to see them excel, not just get to the playoff first round. We want to see them go deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, gotta make a Super Bowl sometime, right? It's gotta happen
Sometime,
accidentally. Come
I don't
on.
know. When was the last time it came close? Was this the Ernest Biner fumble? Or
Yeah,
what
yeah.
happened?
This is 1986, 87, and 89. They lost in the AFC Championship game all to the Denver Broncos and John Elway. We got a lot of bad memories, man, in Cleveland. All right. Look, Errict Rhett, thank you so much for the time. We're so glad you can join us in this episode of the Home Stretch. Priest, you weren't lying, man. He's the man.
Look at him.
He's the man. Look at him.
Cutting up.
Errict Rhett, everybody. Errict
That's
Rhett.
it, man. All right, E.
There he is. Okay,
Love you,
cool.
bro.
We got your pleasure to meet you. Thank you for the time. And we'll be back around with you very soon, all right?
All right, brother. Love you, man.
This has been a Playmaker production.